Lim was frequently bullied by her classmates for being considered ugly. One day, by accident, she met a handsome boy. His gentle smile brought a bit of warmth into her cold, miserable school life. So she went home and carefully dressed up, determined to confess her feelings to him. But she didn't know that this boy was actually the boyfriend of Simi, the very girl who bullied her. And so, she was beaten up once again. Simi used an eyeliner pencil to draw all over Lim's face, then took pictures and posted them online. In utter despair, Lim decided to end her life. At that moment, a boy suddenly appeared and saved her. While Lim was crying at home, she accidentally came across a makeup tutorial video. She followed along carefully, trying everything she saw. To her surprise, her appearance changed completely. She had transformed herself into a beautiful girl all through makeup. From then on, her luck began to turn. Her artistic talent caught the eye of a prestigious art school, and she was accepted. 3 months later, she entered her new school with a brand new face. Her long nights of practicing makeup paid off. The ugly duckling had become a stunning beauty. Soon, she made many friends. Lim was overjoyed that she could finally live like a normal person, but the premise is that no one must ever see her face without makeup. After school, Lim went to a bookstore to buy her favorite horror manga. The newest volume had just been released, and there was only one copy left. Just as she was about to grab it, a boy reached out and took it first. Lim tried to argue with him, but he simply turned and walked away. The next day, Lim ran into the same boy again. Her friend told her his name was Lee, a member of the school's drama club. He was handsome, but known for his terrible personality. During lunch break, Lim's friend excitedly announced that Lim had been chosen as one of the school's goddess candidates. It might have been her chance to become popular, but if she became famous, her secret could easily be exposed. Then everyone would know what she really looked like. Just the thought made her break out in a cold sweat. That evening, she went back to the bookstore. Once again, the book she wanted was snatched up by Lee. Furious, Lim turned and stormed off, but as she left, she accidentally dropped one of her earphones. The next day, while waiting for the bus, Lim realized it was missing. Suddenly, Lee appeared in front of her and handed her the lost earphone. It was obvious that Lee had discovered her true identity. Panicking, Lim ran straight home. After calming down, she went to find Lee and begged him to keep her secret. Lee agreed on one condition: as long as Lim obeyed his every command, he wouldn't tell anyone. From then on, Lim became Lee's personal maid, on call 24 hours a day. Since Lee had no friends, he often dragged Lim along to watch horror movies with him. Their constant presence together made other students think they were dating. The next day, Lee got into an argument with a boy named June. June absolutely hated Lee. He even called him a sociopath. Later, the art teacher gave the class an assignment. Each student had to draw a portrait. They were required to randomly select a classmate from the school's list to serve as their model. By coincidence, Lim picked June, but June thought Lim was Lee's girlfriend, so he deliberately made things difficult for her and refused to cooperate. Lim was frustrated and didn't know what to do. One day in the hallway, she ran into a girl named Woon, whose heavy makeup made her look a bit scary. After talking to her, Lim learned that Woon had been chosen as the lead singer for the school choir, but her classmates refused to accept her because they thought she wasn't pretty enough. Woon's story reminded Lim of her own painful past, so she decided to help her. While passing the basketball court, a stray ball hit Lim's paint set, splashing color all over her face. Terrified that someone might see her real face, Lim quickly covered herself. Luckily, Lee appeared in time and helped her out of the situation. Over time, Lim realized that although Lee's personality was hard to deal with, he was actually a good person. That night, Lim contacted Lee to return his jacket. When she met him by the river, she suddenly remembered. Lee was the boy who had saved her life that night. Lim told Lee how she had felt back then. Though those days were painful, she had always believed that sadness and hardship would eventually pass. Lee, who wasn't good at expressing emotions, simply said that whether she wore makeup or not, she looked the same to him. On the day of Woon's performance, Lim carefully gave her the perfect makeup look. Watching Woon shine brightly on stage filled Lim with genuine happiness. Later, she found out that Woon was actually June's younger sister. To thank Lim, June volunteered to be her portrait model. That night, Lim received a text message from a girl named Sujin. Sujin appeared kind and friendly on the surface, but behind her smile, she was already planning something cruel. Because she liked Lee, and she was also the winner of the school's goddess title for the past 2 years. That day, all the goddess candidates received their first task. Each of them had to record a dance video, and the winner would be chosen through voting. Lim, who had poor coordination, wanted to quit right away, but her two best friends, eager to help, rallied all their classmates from the art department to support her. Their enthusiasm made it impossible for her to turn them down. That afternoon, June posed as Lim's model for her portrait assignment. He loved teasing Lim, but the moment he heard Sujin's name, his expression turned serious. He warned Lim to stay away from Sujin, but Lim didn't take his words to heart. That night, Sujin called Lim, saying she wanted to introduce her to a boyfriend. Before Lim could refuse, Sujin hung up the phone. The next day, Lim went to the meeting out of curiosity, just to see what would happen. To her surprise, the guy was mature, handsome, and surprisingly gentle, an art major in college. Jason seemed to genuinely like Lim. He even told her, "Even if you didn't have this pretty face, I'd still like you." Those words touched Lim deeply, so she accepted Jason's confession. On her way home, her heart was filled with sweetness. The second time they met, Jason took Lim to a hotel. He kept assuring her that he wouldn't do anything, that he just wanted to watch a movie and chat. Then he gently pulled Lim into the room. The hotel room had a cozy, romantic atmosphere. Jason handed Lim a swimsuit, saying they'd go to the pool later. Then he politely stepped out of the room. But at that very moment, a tiny hidden camera on the lampshade was aimed right at Lim. Thinking his plan had succeeded, Jason came back in, only to be punched in the face by June. It turned out June worked part-time at the hotel, and had already seen through Jason's trap. Meanwhile, Lee had discovered that Jason was a notorious playboy and rushed over in time. When the plan fell apart, Jason panicked and revealed that Sujin was the one who put him up to it, then fled in a hurry. Lee chased after him, but was hit by a car. Enraged, Lim confronted Sujin directly, but Sujin only threatened her instead, saying that if Lim dared to report her, she'd release the photos of Lim entering the hotel with a man. Meanwhile, Lee, unconscious in the hospital, dreamt of his past. He used to attend a performing arts academy. His classmate, Sian, was often bullied. Lee tried to stand up for him and got into fights with the bullies. June, who was in the vocal class, stepped in and helped drive the bullies away. After that, Lee, June, and Sian became close friends, even though the bullying never completely stopped. Sian always believed that pain and hardship would eventually pass. With his optimism and talent, Sian became the first among them to rise to fame. But the good days didn't last long. One rainy night, Lee saw the news. Sian had jumped into the river and died. Just an hour before that, Sian had called him, but Lee hadn't answered. At Sian's funeral, Lee didn't shed a single tear. Afterward, he left the city altogether. That was when June decided Lee was a cold, heartless person. Back in the present, Lim discovered that people were spreading malicious rumors about her online. They said she was a loose, promiscuous girl. Looking back on all the bullying she had endured, Lim couldn't hold back her tears. She refused to return to that hopeless, miserable life. So she decided to fight back against Sujin, and vowed to win the school's goddess competition to prove herself. The next day, Lim visited Lee in the hospital. Lee, acting like a spoiled prince, made her feed him porridge. Lim didn't want to, but she did it anyway. The atmosphere between them made Sujin, who came to visit, burn with jealousy. Soon, the deadline for the first goddess competition task, the dance video, was approaching. Lim decided to use this opportunity to prove herself. Lee even hired a dance instructor to train her intensively. After countless hours of day and night practice, Lim's dancing improved dramatically. Her effort and determination were the first things that moved June's heart. Before he knew it, he had started to fall for her. On the day Lee was discharged, June waited near the hospital. Lee sensed that June still cared about him deep down, so he tried to explain what had happened years ago. On the day Sian died, Lee's father had brought another woman home again. Furious, Lee stormed out of the house and forgot his phone. June didn't forgive Lee right away, but as he turned to leave, the anger had already faded from his face. Lim, who had come to pick Lee up, happened to overhear their conversation. In that moment, she understood everything. Lee hadn't cried at Sian's funeral because he was cold. He simply couldn't cry anymore after carrying so much pain inside. Lim wondered if maybe the reason Lee loved acting so much was because, on stage, he could escape reality and become someone else. Hearing her words, Lee broke down and cried for the first time. Not long after, Lim received the final reminder that the first task deadline was near. All the other candidates had already submitted their videos that morning, only she hadn't finished hers, and there were only 15 minutes left. Desperate, she asked Lee to help her film. She started dancing right there on the street. Compared to the pre-recorded videos, The live performance caught everyone's attention, and just like that, Lim won the first round of the competition. As Lim's popularity continued to rise at school, Sujin grew increasingly jealous. Her mother drank every day and often took out her anger on Sujin. Feeling hurt and lonely, Sujin called Lee. When they met, she suddenly threw her arms around him, and just at that moment, Lim happened to see them. Her heart sank, and she began to avoid Lee on purpose. In trying to stay away from him, she accidentally lost the project she had prepared for the second goddess competition task, the campus-style design. Lee chased her all the way to the bookstore to explain that he and Sujin had nothing going on. Once Lim's heart finally settled, she realized her project was missing, but the deadline for the second task was almost up, so she quickly improvised a new design using Lee's clothes. Unfortunately, she still lost to Sujin. To cheer her up, her best friends invited Lim to a little house party, and to brainstorm how they could take down Sujin next. Lim really wanted to go, but she hesitated. She knew she'd have to remove her makeup at night, and she was terrified her friends would be disgusted by her real face, so she turned down the invitation. Lee told her that real friends wouldn't reject her for who she truly was, because when you really like someone, you like them for who they are, no matter what they look like. Hearing that, Lim changed her mind and went to the party, and indeed, she had a great time with her friends. After much hesitation, Lim finally removed her makeup. Her friends were visibly surprised at first, but when Lim opened up about her past and how she had been bullied, they hugged her tightly and cried together. Meanwhile, Sujin received a message from an unknown sender. The next day, when Lee and June met, they both admitted they liked Lim. When June learned that Lee planned to confess his feelings, he realized he no longer had a chance, and quietly walked away. Soon after, Lee asked Lim to go to the movies with him, but as they were walking, a passing car splashed muddy water all over them. Lee asked Lim to come to his house so he could change clothes. Alone together, Lim couldn't help but let her imagination run wild. Then it started raining heavily outside, so she couldn't leave yet. The two ended up watching a horror movie together. As time went by, the atmosphere grew unexpectedly intimate. Before leaving, Lim gathered her courage to confess her feelings, but Lee cut her off before she could finish. Back home, Lim felt crushed. She thought Lee didn't like her after all. Then June invited her out to eat. After hearing her story, June guessed that maybe Lee had been planning to confess himself, and told her to wait a little longer. And sure enough, June was right. Lee had prepared a gift for Lim and was about to give it to her, but Sujin's sudden appearance ruined everything. Sujin had learned about Lim's past from the girl who used to bully her. She used that secret to blackmail Lee, telling him to date her, or she'd expose Lim's true identity to the whole school. She threatened that if he didn't, Lim would be branded a liar and humiliated forever. Left with no choice, Lee agreed. Soon after, Lim saw Sujin's social media post a photo of her and Lee together. Sujin even announced that they were dating. The blow devastated Lim. The next day, Sujin clung to Lee's arm and paraded around school. Lim became the laughingstock of her classmates. Worse still, Sujin spread rumors that Lim was trying to get revenge after losing the design contest. The gossip became unbearable. Lim didn't even want to go to school anymore. A few days later came the final round of the goddess competition, a live broadcast. Since both Lim and Sujin had won one task each, they now had to give speeches live to earn votes. The one with the most votes would be the final winner. On the day of the final, Sujin appeared right on time in the live stream. Everyone assumed that Lim, who had disappeared for days, was too scared to show up, but to their surprise, Lim arrived in full makeup, dressed beautifully. Then Sujin pulled out the photos of Lim with the man from the hotel, and falsely accused Lim of frequently going to hotels with men. The audience was in an uproar. Lim was speechless. She couldn't bear the stares of disgust and the mocking laughter around her, and ran into the restroom. Just then, her friend June called and asked where she was. Within minutes, June showed up, and brought along Simi, the girl who had once bullied Lim. Lim was facing the biggest betrayal of her life. A week earlier, Simi had recognized Lim on social media. She immediately reached out to Sujin, Lim's rival, to plot against her. Their plan was to expose Lim's real face in front of everyone during the final. Simi bribed June to secretly record Lim without makeup. Then the two tied Lim up and wiped all the makeup off her face. After getting the footage she wanted, Simi went to find Sujin, but Sujin waited for hours, and Simi never showed up. At that moment, Lee burst into the live broadcast. He declared that he would no longer cooperate with Sujin, and that he refused to pretend to be her boyfriend any longer. Sujin, furious, stormed out to find Lim. When she saw Lim, she smirked triumphantly. Then she revealed everything she had done, and raised her phone, ready to expose the video of Lim without makeup to the public. But just at that critical moment, Lim managed to break free from the tape around her wrists and ran for her life. What Sujin didn't know was that everything had already been part of Lee and Jun's plan. On the night of the party, Jun had received a message from Lee. He told her someone was plotting to frame Lim, so they decided Jun would pretend to betray Lim to gain Sujin's trust. Before the competition started, they gave Lim a small camera disguised as a necklace, so they could record Sujin's confession. When Lee hit the send button, everyone at school received a video of Sujin admitting to all her crimes. Lim ran out of the restroom, memories flooding through her mind. How she had used makeup to escape her painful past. Started a new life at a new school. Met friends who genuinely cared for her. And found someone who made her heart flutter, even though her journey was full of fear, anxiety, and heartbreak. If she could choose again, she would still choose the same life. Lim rushed back into the live broadcast room. In front of everyone, she threw her arms around Lee and hugged him tightly. As applause erupted across the room, the new goddess competition finally came to an end, and Lim no longer needed to hide behind makeup. For the first time, she faced the world with her true face.